So we've got a company who is using how-to videos, very popular, in place of traditional e-learning. So they've just got the videos. What should they be considering when they're coming to the localization of those videos?
Things to consider when localizing video. Potentially the first question would be, do you need subtitles or do you need voiceover? In certain contexts, perhaps users watch videos on mute when they're commuting on public transport, and actually doing the voiceover is a wasted effort, and you just want to provide them with subtitles so they can watch it quietly on their phones. On the other hand, when you provide voiceover, you might want to ask the question, does it have to be a human voiceover, or would a text-to-speech be a better fit and a way of saving costs? You could also consider if it's going to be machine translation or human translation. If the content is potentially very specialized and complex, it may be advisable to use only human translation. But if the content is very repetitive and structured well and using simple language, it might be suitable for machine translation. You would want to know how the users will watch the videos. Will they use their mobile phones while traveling, or will they use a PC and watch it on large screen? Would they want to download it and watch it offline so they can save on the data usage? Or would they stream? Would they watch the videos on YouTube, which has its own tools for uploading subtitles, versus a learning management system, which perhaps has other requirements? So I think understanding your audience and what is the appropriate channel for them to access the videos is key here. And understanding the demographic also would help you make certain decisions up front that your localized content will meet their expectations.
And how can you start to answer those questions? Because I guess there's, especially when you've got multiple markets and multiple different audiences, they're going to have different answers there.
Most companies, if they are designing e-learning, they already have people on the ground in the countries for which they're designing for, and they will be the first people to ask. They'll be the ones best placed to know and understand what their audience is. They may have experience with other content they do for that audience already locally. They may have some tips and advice from their own experience of just living in that country, and things that you would not have thought, or considered from your perspective. So I think going to your in-market salespeople would be the best starting point.
And I think in an ideal scenario, we would always suggest to clients that you would look to create your content in such a way that would work for all of your markets. That's the ideal, so that you would look to create the content once and localize it, rather than having to make a change for each market to make it work in every market. There are cases where you will need to perhaps have a number of different versions, but talk to your people in market, understand what they need. But wherever you can, aim to create one version that will work for as big an audience as possible.
Yeah, I think in scalability, what we think is, if it might work for your source video, like for English, but once you try to move it around different markets, this might not work. For example, if getting a work, like getting someone to do a video from your company just in the moment, spur in the moment video, just a live one, that might work for English. But then when you're trying to localize that, you are not thinking about, like, for other markets, if that's gonna work or if it's gonna be cost effective. If on the other hand you script a video, and for example, instead of having someone do it, you can get an animation, or someone just showing their hands as when they're doing something, that will help not only reduce the cost, but also will help people to see that as something that it was created for them. So it's more culturally appropriate. And some other questions that are key at the beginning of the process is if you want that audio localized or only subtitle. And some videos or some audios will need that human touch. Like, for example, marketing and sales modules tend to be more prone to need that human voice and that marketing voice. And that means that it will need to be reviewed and approved before even going to recording. And also making changes to that will be very costly. But on the other hand, if it's something more technical or more a regulatory video, that can a text-to-speech engine can be helpful for that, because you will only need to show those actions, or you like the purpose it's completely different. So it will give more flexibility and it will decrease your costs in the longer term.
One other point about videos and the use of subtitles, particularly in how-to videos, is consider how it's going to look to the user in the end. If your video is of somebody doing something in the bottom third of the screen, and that's where the subtitles go, then that might be a problem. So we've had that with a number of clients. Just think, how is it going to work? How is it going to look? And build that into your decision-making process.
You would also want to consider which approach is right for your market when it comes to video localization. In certain markets, it may be more acceptable to use text-to-speech, so AI voices versus a human voice. And again, your in-market salespeople, they might be able to best advise if that is acceptable or not. But you also have to ensure that it matches the content of the video. So yeah, a marketing video potentially must have a more nuanced performance and delivery than something that is perhaps quite a dry sort of instruction video that has to be functional rather than beautiful. So consider all those aspects for video and and use the tools that will match that goal.
And we've talked about various technological tools. There are a lot of technological tools coming out all the time for people to localize, translate. How can people start to incorporate those technologies while making the courses that they're making now future-proof?
I think it's a really interesting point, and it's difficult because I think there's a lot of technology that's in its infancy. Augmented reality, virtual reality still aren't really that mainstream, but are things that manufacturing clients in particular might be interested in to help them upskill their workforce or deliver very technically demanding training. There's also content-based tools as well that might, for example, be able to take structured DITA or XML content that creates user manuals or user guides and makes a video of that. So I think it's really having a look and always trying to keep up to date with what tools are out there, what's up and coming, and what might be of interest to you in the future, because yeah, it's ever evolving and rapidly changing.